Chance to be an unlikely wild card team in the National League. Second straight year that the wild card has come down to a tiebreaker. Last year it was the Cubs beating the Giants at Wrigley Field the day after the season. This year the Cubs fell into last place, and today it cost Jim Riggleman his job. He was fired as manager of the Cubs. Today's starting lineups are brought to you by Bob's Stores, the official athletic wear store of the New York Mets. For the Mets, their regular lineup, Ricky Henderson will lead it off. Ricky had a problem with a knee yesterday, but he's okay and in the lineup tonight in left field. Edgardo Alfonzo is at second base. Alfonzo hitting number 2. John Olerud bats third. Olerud playing first base. Mike Piazza does the catching. Piazza hitting cleanup. Robin Ventura bats number 5. Ventura at third base. Darrell Hamilton in center field. Hamilton hitting number 6. Roger Cedeno bats 7th. Cedeno in right field. Ray Ordonez is the shortstop. Ordonez hitting 8th. And on the mound for New York, left-hander Al Leiter. Leiter with a record of 12 wins and 12 losses. For the Reds, Pokey Reese leads off. Reese playing second base. Their captain, Barry Larkin, is at shortstop. Larkin hitting number 2. Sean Casey, the 4th leading hitter in the National League, hits third. Casey playing first base. Greg Vaughn is in left field. Vaughn hit 45 home runs. He's hitting cleanup. Dimitri Young bats number 5. Young playing right field. Jeffrey Hammonds gets the start in center field for the injured Mike Cameron. Cameron has a hamstring injury and cannot go, so Hammonds will hit 6th and play center field. Eddie Taubensee bats 7th. Taubensee getting a rare start against a left-hander. He'll do the catching. Aaron Boone is at third base. Boone hitting 8th. And on the mound for Cincinnati, 31-year-old right-hander Steve Paris. Paris has made only 20 starts this year, but he has a record of 11 wins and only 3 losses. If the Reds win, they go to Atlanta to play Greg Maddux and the Atlanta Braves tomorrow afternoon. If the Mets win, they go to Arizona to play Randy Johnson and the Arizona Diamondbacks at 11 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow night. Sellout crowd here at Riverfront Stadium, or if you prefer, Cinergy Field here in Cincinnati. Temperature in the mid-50s. It's been a murky day here in Cincinnati. It rained in the morning and part of the afternoon, but no precipitation as we approach game time. Temperature is supposed to be going down to around 40 degrees before this night is over. Ricky Henderson striding toward the plate to get this tiebreaker game started, and set to describe all the action for you. Here's Bob Murphy.
All right, Gary. Ricky hitting at .314 on the year. Standing in against this 31-year-old right-hander, Steve Paris. 11-3. The first pitch of the game is up and in, 1 ball and no strikes. Ricky Henderson having one of the finest years, if not the finest year, of his major league career. Here he is at his age, batting over 300. And a strike called in the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. Edgardo Alfonzo hits next, and then John Olerud. Mets would love to get a couple of runs on the board early in this ball game. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Line drive hit toward left field, base hit. So Ricky Henderson has led the game off with a line single into left field. Greg Vaughn, the left fielder, plays the ball back to the infield.
Ricky, his last time up yesterday, snapped an 0 for 15 with a base hit. Now gets a base hit his first time up tonight. And you're right, Bob. Getting runs early would be enormous for the Mets here tonight.
It would be such a lifter for Al Leiter as he takes the mound to pitch for New York.
Mets have had so few games recently in which they've given their pitchers any breathing room.
Edgardo Alfonzo hitting at .303. Paris, the right-hander, turns, throws to first base. Sean Casey is playing first. Pokey Reese is at second. The captain, Barry Larkin, is playing shortstop. And Aaron Boone is at third. Good infield. Now Paris working from the stretch. He bluffs it a butt, takes a strike call to the outside corner. In the outfield, the slugger, Greg Vaughn, is the left fielder. Jeffrey Hammonds is playing center. Mike Cameron is hurt. And around in right field, it's Dimitri Young, who's had a very good year for Cincinnati. The catcher is the veteran Ed Taubensee. He's had a big year swinging the bat. Now the pitch by Paris. Off the outside corner, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Bob, I'm not sure the condition of Ricky Henderson's leg. He's not been doing very much running at all of late, but the Reds are very easy to run on. Taubensee has thrown out only 14% of base stealers this year, so if Ricky has it in him to steal a base, he might be able to do so.
He kind of injured that knee yesterday in the last game the Mets played, so it might be doubtful. Turn and a throw to first base, but Paris is taking no chances. He'll try and keep a short halter on Ricky Henderson. The plate umpire is the senior umpire in the National League, Bruce Pribbing. We have 6 umpires. You're in the postseason. Jerry Davis is umpiring at first, Mark Hirschbeck at second, Ed Rapuano at third. Swing and a high fly ball hit pretty deep to center field. Back goes Hammonds to the warning track. Looking up, gone. It's a two-run homer. A two-run homer over the center field fence for Edgardo Alfonso. His 27th home run of the year, and the Mets do have 2 early runs on the board.
What an important hit for Edgardo Alfonso. He had that huge base hit that set up the winning run in the 9th inning yesterday, and he hits this one over the center field fence. Exactly what the Mets needed to get their night started.
The 27th home run of the year for Edgardo Alfonso. So the Mets have the early 2-0 lead. He hit it right over the 404 mark in straightaway center field. Terrific way to start for the New York Mets. Now John Olerud is the hitter. And a ground ball hit down to first. Fair ball is fielded by Casey. He runs to the bag, 1 man out. Unassisted play by first baseman Sean Casey. Casey is the terrific rookie who plays first base for Cincinnati. Now here's Mike Piazza.
Excuse me, Bob. Steve Paris had been doing a terrific job of keeping the ball in the ballpark. He had given up only 2 home runs in his last 42 innings. So for Alfonso to take Paris deep, that is a real jolt for the Cincinnati Reds.
Now the hitter is Mike Piazza, the Mets slugging cleanup batter. And the pitch on the way, a breaking ball that is outside and low. Piazza with 40 home runs and 124 runs batted in. He has had one of the big years in National League Baseball this season. The 1-0 delivery. Low outside, ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes.
This is a good hitter's ballpark. The Mets had a game here in Cincinnati earlier this season in which they hit 3 home runs in the first inning. Henderson, Olerud, and Piazza all homered.
2-0 delivery. Caught the outside corner for a call strike. 2-1. Mets Radio would like to recognize John Fay of Local 373 as the United Association member of the game. The United Association making life livable for all Americans. Just off the inside corner. So the count goes to 3-1 on Mike Piazza. Mets have a 2-0 lead, a 2-run homer by Edgardo Alfonso. He hit it over the center field fence. Pitching 3-1. Low outside, ball 4. Piazza is aboard with a walk. And Robin Ventura will be coming up. Ventura had a home run earlier this year against right-hander Steve Paris. Ventura had a very cool bat for about 10 days, but his bat has definitely been warming up of late. His average dipped below 300, but is back over 300 now. He's hitting at 301.
He had the most important hits in those first 2 games against the Pirates, including the game winner in the 11th inning on Friday night.
Left-hand hitter Robin Ventura. He has had a marvelous year for New York. 32 home runs, 119 RBIs. Swing and a foul ball going out of play. Cookie Rojas coaching at third. On the lines at first, Mookie Wilson. During the regular season, the Mets and Reds played 9 times. Cincinnati won 5. The Mets won 4. The Reds swept 3 at Shea Stadium. Low inside taken. 1 ball and 1 strike on Robin Ventura. Ricky Henderson led off with a hard single to left, and Edgardo Alfonso hit it over the center field fence. So we're playing in the very first inning, and the Mets have a 2-0 lead. Steve Paris, a 31-year-old right-hander, delivers. That's low inside. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, Steve Paris does not appear to really have his good command here tonight, and the Mets have got to jump on him for as much as they can in this first inning before he gets his act together.
You can say that of just about all good starting pitchers. If you're going to get them, you got to get them early. The 2-1 pitch. Ground ball back to the mound. Paris will throw to second for 1. Larkin throws to first, double play. 1-6-3 double play. The side retired. For the Mets, 2 runs. There were 2 hits and nobody left on. Al Leiter takes the mound for New York. Al looking for his 13th win of the year. Last year he had a terrific season. He won 17 and lost only 6. He has had some outstanding ball games this year, but overall the year has not been the caliber of last season. So Leiter is 12-12 with a 4.41 earned run average. Lifetime against Cincinnati, Al Leiter has won 4 while losing 3.
You know, Al has had 2 enormous wins for the Mets, stopping losing streaks this year. He had the one at Yankee Stadium that stopped the 8-game losing streak, and then the last start against the Braves, he stopped a 7-game losing streak. Those may have been 2 of the biggest wins the Mets have had all year.
I would certainly think so. That's really being a stopper. And that's what the Mets absolutely had to have at that point in time. Pokey Reese will be up for the Cincinnati Reds. He's had a marvelous year. They are booming him for the Gold Glove at second base. He has made 7 errors in the field, and Edgardo Alfonso has made only 5. Oh, this crowd is going to be on fire here tonight. As they were at Shea Stadium yesterday, they're all rising to their feet before a pitch has even been thrown to a Cincinnati batter. Now Leiter is getting ready to do exactly that. Pokey Reese is the hitter, batting at .285. And a fastball high, 1 ball and no strikes. Usually, if Leiter is going to have trouble in a ball game, it will be because of a lack of control. If he's throwing strikes and throwing that fastball on the inside corner, he's in good shape. There's a strike on the inside corner, 1 ball, 1 strike. The Mets defensive alignment is brought to you by Medico Security Locks. Don't accept imitations. Ask for it by name. Medico. 1-1 on Pokey Reese, the second baseman. Pokey is a right-hand batter with great running speed. Way inside, that goes all the way to the backstop. 2 balls and a strike. On the infield, the Mets are playing John Olerud at first, Edgardo Alfonso at second, Ray Ordonez at short, and Robin Ventura is at third. Ricky Henderson in left field, Darrell Hamilton in center, Roger Cedeno around at right, and Mike Piazza behind the plate. The 2-1 pitch. Too high, ball 3, and Leiter's behind on the first batter, 3-1. This crowd still remains standing, and they are roaring. Complete sellout tonight at Riverfront Stadium, and they only had a few hours to sell the tickets. Now the 3-1 pitch. Strike call to the outside corner, 3-2. So important to Al Leiter to have his good control here tonight and win a game on the road in front of a huge crowd. A win that would send the Mets on to Arizona. If they win it, they'll go right after the game on their way to Arizona. The 3-2 pitch. He walked him. So Pokey Reese is on with the walk, and it brings up the captain, Barry Larkin. Boy, he is a sensational player. And Larkin's had a good year. He's hitting at .295.
First innings have been so troublesome for Al Leiter, particularly the second half of the season. Start after start after start, he's had trouble getting out of that first inning without multiple runs scoring.
Veteran shortstop Barry Larkin has 12 home runs and 75 runs batted in. He also has 30 stolen bases. He is hitting at .295. The first inning has been such a worry for Al Leiter. Listen to the Cincinnati fans. This crowd will be up all night long. The Mets will have to overcome it. Now the pitch on the way. Inside low to Barry Larkin. 1 ball and no strikes.
I think part of the problem for Leiter early in games, he is such an emotional pitcher, such an emotional person. It takes a while for him to get his emotions in check in a game.
Yeah, he wears his emotions right on his sleeve. Now the veteran left-hander kicks the leg. Around comes the arm. Outside, ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Sean Casey, the slugging first baseman, is the on-deck batter. Mike Piazza goes out to the mound now to talk with Al Leiter. Listen to this crowd. Wow. Casey, the on-deck batter, is hitting at .334 with 25 home runs and 99 runs batted in. He has been a sensational hitter. So is Greg Bond, the left fielder. Bond, particularly the second half of the year, and particularly in September. 2 balls and no strikes on Barry Larkin. Pitched by Al Leiter. Over for a call strike. He had a good move, too. He had the runner, Pokey Reese, going back to the bag at first when he delivered the ball to the plate. Let's have the infield looking for a double play. Darrell Hamilton is straight away in center field. 2 balls and a strike now. And a throw to first by Leiter, getting the runner back. That's a 1. 4 out of 6 they played this year at Riverfront Stadium. Now the pitch on the way, and a line drive in the air to left field is playable. Ricky moving over in front of it makes the catch. Ricky Henderson moving toward the line makes the grab. Fairly easy play for Ricky. So 1 out and 1 on. Now here comes Sean Casey, the young slugging first baseman. Boy, what a year for this youngster. 334 batting average. 25 homers, 99 runs batted in. Speed. Leiter throws over and the runner gets back. Al Leiter just hoping that he has good command of his pitches here tonight. You can ill afford to be giving up any walks and working constantly behind the hitters. Leiter is in agreement now with Mike Piazza. Left-hand slugger, Casey, swinging at a high fly ball hit pretty deep to left field. Ricky Henderson back to the wall, makes the catch. Ricky Henderson in front of the left field wall, reached up and pulled down that long fly ball. That was hit pretty darn good by Sean Casey. Now Greg Vaughn will be coming up. The slugging Greg Vaughn has 45 home runs and 118 RBIs. Greg Vaughn hit 14 home runs in September, and he's hit 3 more in October. So he has 45 home runs. They're not Mark McGwire numbers, but they're not too far behind either.
Well, his September numbers were better than anybody. He was the National League Player of the Month for the month of September. He carried the Reds down the stretch of the season and capped it off with a home run yesterday in Milwaukee.
He had a huge year for the San Diego Padres last season, helping the Padres to win the National League crown, and then was moved to the Cincinnati Reds. Vaughn, a right-hand hitter. Outside and high, 1 ball and no strikes. That almost got away from Al Leiter.
Well, Vaughn hit 50 for the Padres last year, and it looked early this season as though he wouldn't get close. He was not having a good year until the last 6 weeks, and he really stepped it up.
Yeah, he had a very slow first half of the season. The hitter is Greg Vaughn, the powerhouse hitter. Right-hand pull hitter. Al Leiter from the stretch. And a swing and a miss. He had him fooled on an off-speed delivery. Good pitch by Leiter. 1 ball and 1 strike. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, contact your local RE/MAX office. No one in the world sells more real estate than RE/MAX. 2-0, Mets lead on Edgardo Alfonso's 2-run homer. We are playing in the last half of inning number 1. Check swing, and the pitch missed inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. It's breezy, and it's very chilly tonight in Cincinnati. Before the night is over, it may go down to about 40 degrees. It should stay in the 50s, hopefully, or the high 40s until the game is over. 2-1 is the count. Throw to first by Leiter. He's thrown over there a lot here in the first inning.
Well, the Mets know if they can win tonight, they'll be warmer tomorrow.
Boy, and how. They'll be in Phoenix, Arizona. How hot will it be?
99, 100, somewhere in that range.
Right in that range. It'll be quite a contrast, I know that. 2-1 on Vaughn. He checks the swing again, a breaking ball inside. So now Leiter, oh, this is trouble. Leiter goes behind the powerhouse slugger, 3 balls and a strike. Home run hitters love 3-1 counts. So Greg Vaughn will be looking for a pitch that he can drive right here. Most of the crowd here at Riverfront standing. The count is 3-1. Vaughn is the hitter and the pitch. Foul ball hit down the third baseline, no play. So the count goes full down at 3-2. This time, Pokey Reese, the runner at first, will be going. He reached on a walk as the leadoff batter. The next 2, Larkin and Casey, have been retired by Al Leiter. Now 3-2, so Pokey Reese will be running. Al Leiter working at a very deliberate pace here in the opening inning. Trying to get his feel for the ball game. Get his command. The runner takes the lead. There's the pitch on the way. Strike 3 call. Al Leiter struck out Greg Vaughn, and the inning is over. Great pitch on 3-2. 1 ball and no strikes. Harold Hamilton has had any number of outstanding hits for the Mets. Big hits. Coming when you felt like you absolutely had to have one. And a fastball that's wide. 2 balls and no strikes. Harris usually has good control. He will not walk too many. Eddie Taubensee puts up the target. Smack ground ball, second base. Big hop taken for Pokey Reese. Throws to Casey, one man down. And we pause for station identification on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
The Cubs fired Jim Riggleman after their worst season since 1980. Shane Spencer's left off the Yankees postseason roster. Mike and the Mad Dog, weekdays 1 until 6 on WFAN New York.
Bob Murphy with Gary Cohen. We're in the second inning in Cincinnati. Now Roger Cedeno is the hitter. That had to be a tough call for Eddie Lynch on the firing of Jim Riggleman. He liked him so much personally. A lot of people did. Strike called over the inside corner.
Well, the Cubs completely fell apart the second half of this season. I don't think Eddie really had a choice.
I guess not. There are times when you just have to make a move. Next pitch on the way, way inside. He has to jackknife out of the way. 1 ball, 1 strike now on Roger Cedeno. Roger hitting over 300, batting at .314. And he has 66 stolen bases. Only Tony Womack has more. 1-1 pitch. Low inside, 2 balls and a strike. I think this is just a remarkable crowd considering they only had today to sell all those tickets. They were camped out at 5 o'clock this morning in bitter weather. Low and outside, and the count goes to 3-1 on Roger Cedeno. Cookie Rojas coaching third, Mookie Wilson on the lines at first. If the Reds win, they fly to Atlanta and play a late afternoon game tomorrow. If the Mets win, they fly to Phoenix. Swung on, ground ball, right side of the infield. Pokey Reese throws Casey 2 men down. So Steve Paris getting ground ball outs now. Both Hamilton and Cedeno hit ground balls to the second baseman. 2 outs and nobody on. Here is Ray Ordonez. Little Ray has 60 RBIs this year. You know, he's now gone 99 ball games without making an error. 99, that's hard to imagine. And he's such a daring and a diving shortstop. He'll take all kinds of chances and makes just amazing plays in the field. Ordonez, the hitter against Steve Paris. Looked pretty good, but no, says Bruce Fleming. It's off the outside corner. 1 ball and no strikes. Our broadcast position is high off the field here at Riverfront Stadium. Ground ball hit down to third, handled by the third baseman Boone, and the throw in the dirt, but handled by Casey, and the side retired. Knocked the mud out of his spikes. You'll probably have to get the Oz stick and force it out of there.
Al has never enjoyed pitching in foul weather conditions.
Well, it's a little bit foul here tonight. It's a little bit wet, and it's a little bit cold. Now we're ready to go. Dimitri Young is the hitter. Batting right-handed against Al Leiter. Ground ball hit hard right at Ray Ordonez. He has it. Throws over first to Olerud. 1 man down. So 1 pitch and 1 retired. That's the way a pitcher likes to do it. In order to enjoy the best things in life, you just have to be in New York. The Mets in a pennant race, and Rheingold Extra Dry Lager beer served cold and fresh at Shea. Rheingold and the Mets, a great New York team. Once again, Al Leiter has to do some work trying to clear his spikes of the mud.
This time the bat boy brings him a brush, and he uses the bat boy's shoulder to balance himself as he brushes his spikes out.
Good idea. Center fielder Jeffrey Hammonds filling in for Mike Cameron. Good ball player, right-hand hitter. And a pass ball missing the inside corner, ball 1. Jeffrey Hammonds is hitting at .278. Former Baltimore Oriole. 17 home runs and 41 runs batted in. Swing and a high foul drive down the left field line. That'll be out of play. You probably heard the crack of the bat on that. He hit that ball pretty hard.
The ball almost went out of the stadium. He hit it so high.
1 ball and 1 strike on Jeffrey Hammonds. This crowd is just roaring constantly when the Reds are at bat. Breaking ball inside. 2 balls and 1 strike. 1 out and nobody on. 2-0 Mets lead. 2-run homer by Edgardo Alfonso in the first inning. And the 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Good breaking ball by Leiter. And he completely fooled Jeffrey Hammonds with that pitch. So the count now is 2 balls and 2 strikes. The winner travels, and the loser starts the winner. It'll be the honeydew season. The 2-2 delivery, swing and a foul ball back on the screen, out of play. What's the honeydew season? Honeydew this and honeydew that. You're always around. If the Mets go to Arizona, that means they have to win. It would be the big unit, Randy Johnson against Masato Yoshi. On the way, line drive in the air to left field. It'll be a base hit. Taken on one hop by Ricky Henderson. So Jeffrey Hammonds is aboard with a line drive single. There is the first hit for Cincinnati. And the batter coming up is a dangerous hitter, the catcher, Ed Taubensee. He's had a good year, and he gets to hit the ball awfully hard. Taubensee has 21 home runs and 87 runs batted in.
Taubensee does not generally play against left-handers. He's had only about 50 at-bats against lefties all year, but Jack McKeon left him in the lineup tonight against Al Leiter.
He's hitting at .313 on the year. So now the Reds have a base runner, Jeffrey Hammonds. Leiter will pitch from the stretch. Missed the inside corner. 1 ball, no strikes. Ray Ordonez shades toward second base, figuring that Ed Taubensee will probably pull the ball. Now the left-hander Al Leiter glances over to first, and the pitch. Ground ball back towards second base, grabbed by Alfonso. He throws to Ordonez. They get the force play, no chance to get 2. But they get the force play on the lead runner, Jeffrey Hammonds. Edgardo Alfonso had to come way in on the ball. It was a slow bouncing ball. He had to turn around in order to throw to Ray Ordonez, and he did that.
When Alfonso first grabbed that ball, his first thought was that he was going to try and tag Jeffrey Hammonds, but Hammonds was behind him and had already begun evasive action, so Alfonso knew that he was going to have to turn and settle for the force play. If he'd been able to make a tag, he would have had a good shot at a double play.
Aaron Boone, the third baseman of that legendary baseball family of Boones, hitting at .281, 14 homers and 72 RBIs. I don't think anybody thought he would hit this well. And the pitch on the way is off the outside corner. 1 ball and no strikes. Aaron Boone, right-hand hitter. His brother Brett Boone is the second baseman for the Atlanta Braves. Now the pitch. And a pop-up on the infield. Coming in Ordonez. He'll be under it. Makes the catch. The inning is over. Good inning for Al Leiter. So no runs, 1 hit. And a man left on at the end of 2 innings. The Mets 2 and the Reds nothing on the WFA. The ground crew, after watching Al Leiter have a lot of trouble digging the mud out of his spikes, now they have come out and spread the drying agent, Gary Cohen, around on the mound.
And so Steve Paris has somewhat drier conditions to work with. Paris has not appeared troubled by it at all over the first 2 innings, but Leiter has. However, Leiter has had better success than Paris. Paris gave up a leadoff single to Ricky Henderson in the first, and then a 2-run bomb over the center field fence to Edgardo Alfonso, and that has given the Mets a 2-0 lead. Since then, Paris has really settled in. He's a sinker-slider pitcher and relies on ground balls, and he's already gotten 5 ground ball outs in the first 2 innings. Al Leiter will lead off the third for New York. Leiter not much of a hitter, but in his last start against Atlanta, he had a couple of hits and 2 very big runs batted in. And the pitch by the right-hander, and a fastball outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Leiter now has 6 hits for the year, hitting a .111. But he has 5 runs batted in with the 6 hits. Paris delivers, and it's on the inside corner for a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike. Steve Paris missed about 5 weeks of the season from late July till the end of August, but he's come back very strong since then. The 1-1 pitch, slider low inside, 2-1. He was on the disabled list with a strained triceps muscle on his pitching arm, but he's made 6 starts since coming back, and he's 4-2 with an ERA of just over 3, so it has not appeared to trouble him since his return. The 2-1 pitch, up and away, ball 3, and now Paris behind the opposing pitcher, 3-1, and a weak-hitting pitcher to boot, so Paris obviously has some work to do here. He has to just throw the ball down the middle. Leiter will gladly take one here on 3-1. Paris delivers, and he takes it, and it's called strike, 3-2. Just throw it right down the middle of the plate. Ricky Henderson standing on deck, and then Edgardo Alfonso here in the third. Mets with a 2-0 lead. Paris with the payoff to Leiter. Swing and a miss. He got him. Paris strikes out Leiter. That's his first strikeout of the night. Paris will average about 6 strikeouts per 9 innings. 1 out and nobody on. Here's Ricky Henderson. Ricky got the Mets started with a line single to left in the opening inning. Alfonso followed with a home run, and those are the only 2 runs of the game so far. Game number 163. The 10th time in Major League history that there has been a tiebreaker for a postseason berth. The 6th time that it's been a 1-game playoff. And the first to involve either one of these 2 teams. Denny Nagel gets up now in the Cincinnati bullpen. The pitch to Henderson taken high, 1-0. Nagel pitched for the Reds on Friday night against the Milwaukee Brewers. And the Reds manager, Jack McKeon, not hesitant at all to use his entire staff here tonight. The 1-0 pitch and a high fly ball hit to shallow left field. Coming in a few steps is Greg Vaughn to settle under it. And Vaughn makes the catch to retire Henderson, 2 men down. So Paris settling into a groove now, has retired the last 6 Mets in a row. 2 out and nobody on for Edgardo Alfonso. This game is brought to you by OmniPoint, New York's premier 100% digital wireless service. Call 1-800-BUY-OMNI for more details. One thing about Jack McKeon, he has not been shy at all this year about using his bullpen. Early in games, late in games, guys using different roles day after day. It's worked for him. The Reds have the best bullpen numbers in the league. Here's Alfonso, and he takes a curveball outside, 1-0. Edgardo hit one over the center field fence in the first inning, his 27th home run of the year. He now has 107 runs batted in. The outfield plays him deep and straight away. The 1-0 from Paris, and another curve misses low. 2 balls and no strikes. Alfonso has had a resurgence the last few days. Now has a 6-game hitting streak going after a cold spell for most of September. Now Paris delivers the 2-0 pitch, low and away, and he's behind an Alfonso 3-0. And you can understand his trepidation here against Alfonso after Fonzie took him deep the last time. Interestingly enough, Alfonso had never had a hit against Paris before that home run. He had been 0 for 9. The 3-0 pitch to Fonzie, call strike letter high, 3-1. John Olerud waits on deck. Veteran starting pitcher Denny Nagel warming up in the Cincinnati bullpen just in case Paris needs help. The 3-1 to Alfonso, low outside ball for him. The Mets have a 2-out base runner. That's the second walk given up by Steve Paris. And now John Olerud will come to the plate with 2 out and a runner at first. And the pitching coach, Don Gullett, is going to go to the mound and talk it over with Paris. So Reds showing a lot of concern for Paris right now with Nagel up in the bullpen. A runner at first and 2 out. Don Gullett visiting the mound. And beyond the infield, out in short right field. The pitch coming to Olerud and a curveball low, 1-0. We saw the Arizona Diamondbacks do this earlier this year when Jay Bell was playing, even further out than that, about 25 or 30 feet into the outfield.
They don't have to worry about Olerud's running speed, so they play out there.
As I recall, in Arizona, it backfired against the Diamondbacks, and a throw to first not in time. But there you have the problem of the ball coming off the lip of the grass. You don't have that problem here. It's an AstroTurf field. Olerud takes a long look down at Cookie Rojas to see whether a hit-and-run play might be in order here. In the outfield, they play Olerud a stride or 2 toward left, but on the infield toward right, and Boone well off the line at third. And a throw to first, and Alfonso is chased back. Fonzie does not steal bases very often, but with Olerud at the plate and his ability to make contact, hit and run is always a possibility. He'd love to get first and third and get Piazza up there. That's operating with 2 out here in the third inning, leading 2-0. Now Paris down to the belt. The 1-0 to Olerud. Fastball strike on the outside corner. And he gets even 1 ball and 1 strike. Each team has won 96 games. The Mets have their 4th highest victory total in their 38-year history. But unless they win tonight, it won't be enough. Alfonso leads off first base. The 1-1 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and a strike to Olerud. John hitting at .296 on the year, 19 home runs and 96 runs batted in. And he's had a great knack for getting on base. 5th in the league in on-base percentage, thanks to 125 walks, by far a Mets club record. Now Paris throws to first, and Alfonso dances back to the bag. Every seat taken here at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. Right now, the crowd a little bit quieter than it was early on. They had an enormous burst of enthusiasm, but the Mets put a dousing to that quickly. First 2 batters into the game, they had a 2-0 lead. The 2-1 pitch hit foul off to the left out of play, and it's even on Olerud, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Steve Paris began his year in the minor leagues. He was pitching at Indianapolis in April, made his first six starts down there, and wasn't called up to the Reds till the 3rd of May. Reds really struggled with their starting pitching early in the year, and Paris has been a huge shot in the arm.
I guess they called him up and they said, "Tom, go down."
The 2-2. Line drive down the right field line. That's a base hit for Olerud. Scampering around second. Alfonso on his way to third. Young gets to the ball. Fonzie being held at third by Cookie Rojas as the throw comes in to Sean Casey. A double for John Olerud, and the Mets have second and third and 2 men down. Dimitri Young, not an accomplished outfielder, and so Cookie Rojas was waving Alfonso until the very last moment to make sure that ball was handled cleanly in right field. But when Young got to it and unleashed the throw, Cookie held Alfonso at third base. The double for Olerud is 39th of the year, and the Mets have a chance with 2 out here. Mike Piazza coming up, and let's see whether they'll pitch to him or put him on. And they're going to walk him, and they'll pitch to Robin Ventura with the bases loaded. And I wonder whether they'll bring Denny Nagel into the game right here.
They might.
3rd inning, and obviously if the Mets were to get a big hit here from Ventura, it could go a long way towards securing a victory. So we're watching the intentional walk to Piazza, who walked unintentionally his first time up. There's ball 3 outside.
Denny Nagel has been there long enough to be ready now.
Steve Paris retired the first 2 hitters here in the 3rd, but he walked Alfonso. Olerud doubled to right, and now here's the intentional walk to Piazza, ball 4 outside. And we'll see whether the Reds make a move here or leave Paris in to pitch to Ventura. And here comes Don Gullen, and that's it for Steve Paris. Nagel is coming into the game to pitch to Ventura. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by OmniPoint. 100% digital, 0% hassle. 31-year-old left-hander Denny Nagel started for the Reds on Friday night in Milwaukee and went 5 2/3 innings to a no decision. And now 3 days later, he's brought in under relief here in the 3rd inning in a huge spot. The Mets have the bases loaded and 2 out. Robin Ventura coming to the plate. The Mets already with a 2-0 lead. Ventura bounced into a double play his first time up. Robin is hitless in 2 career at-bats against Nagel. This is Nagel's first relief appearance of the year. 19 starts. He's 9-5 on the season. Alfonso at third, Olerud at second, Piazza at first, 2 out. Nagel ready to go. The pitch on the way. Fastball strike on the outside corner, 0-1. Interestingly enough, Nagel's only relief appearance for the Braves last year came against the Mets in late September. And those are his only 2 regular season relief appearances since 1993. The infield around toward the right against Ventura. Left-hander against left-hander. The 0-1. Slider low and outside, and Taubensee has to lunge for it. 1 ball and 1 strike. Nagel has had plenty of relief experience in the postseason. Pitching for the Braves, he was usually the odd man out. Braves dealt him to Cincinnati in a trade last winter. Sent Brett Boone to Atlanta. The set by Nagel. The 1-1 to Ventura. Fastball low. Crowd didn't like that call at all, and neither did Nagel. 2 balls and a strike.
Robin Ventura already has 3 grand slams this year. He had 1 in each game of a doubleheader against Milwaukee.
Robin recently has been struggling against left-handers, but he got a game-winning hit against the Pirates against the left-hander Scott Sauerbeck on Friday night. Bases loaded and 2 men down. Nagel off the stretch. The 2-1 to Ventura on the outside corner. Perfect pitch by Nagel, and Ventura didn't like that one. So each team has had a Bruce Crumming call to object to, and they've evened out. 2 balls and 2 strikes, and the crowd rises to its feet again here at Riverfront, hoping that Nagel can get the Reds out of the jam. Runners take a lead at all 3 bases. Nagel brings the hands together. The 2-2 to Ventura. Low, ball 3. And now a full count to Robin, 3-2, and that'll put the merry-go-round in motion. Alfonso at third, Olerud at second, Piazza at first will all be taken off on the pitch with 3-2 and 2 men down. That's with a 2-0 lead as they bat in the 3rd. Now Nagel is set. Ventura waits. The 3-2 pitch. Outside, ball 4, and it forces home a run. Denny Nagel walks Robin Ventura with the bases loaded. Alfonso comes in to score, and the Mets have a 3-0 lead. Let's pause for station identification on the WFAN Mets radio network.
Earl Davis is out for the year with a knee injury. The Jets have lost Chad Cascadden for the season with a knee injury. Otis Smith is out with a broken shoulder. Imus in the morning, weekdays 5:30 until 10 on WFAN, New York.
Gary Cohen, Bob Murphy with you from Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. The Mets have a run home here in the 3rd inning. After 2 out and nobody on, the Mets load the bases. The Reds bring in Denny Nagel, and he walks Robin Ventura to force in a run. Now Darrell Hamilton up. Bases still loaded with 2 down. Hamilton grounded out his first trip. Lefty against lefty. Nagel's pitch hit foul back in the crowd. Out of play, 0-1. A 2-out walk to Edgardo Alfonso by Steve Paris. John Olerud, the only hit in the inning, double to right. The Reds intentionally walked Mike Piazza, brought Nagel into the game, and Nagel walked Ventura to give the Mets a 3-0 lead. Now a base hit could really put the Mets in business. Hamilton waiting. The 0-1 pitch, checks his swing, and it's just off the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. And the crowd roars its disapproval again. Olerud is now the runner at third. Piazza at second. Ventura at first. No speed out there for New York. The outfield plays the other way against Hamilton. Center fielder Hammonds well over into left center field. Nagel is set. The 1-1 pitch. Ground ball weakly back to the mound. Grabbed by Nagel. He'll make the toss to first in time, and that retires the side. The Mets add 1 run, 1 hit, and 3 men left aboard. Middle of the third in Cincinnati. The Mets 3, the Reds 0 on the WFAN Mets radio network. Has given up 1 hit and 1 walk over the first 2 innings. Nagel, a left-hand batter. Leiter delivers, and a swing and a miss. Good cut by Nagel. 0-1. Denny Nagel at the plate this year, 6 for 36, hitting a .167 with a couple of RBIs. The outfield playing shallow and toward left. Leiter with the 0-1. Fastball strike on the outside corner. Is ahead 0-2. Pokey Reese standing on deck, and then Barry Larkin here in the bottom of the third. 3-0 New York in this tiebreaker game. The 0-2 to Nagel, off the outside corner, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Leiter had a tough first inning. He walked the leadoff batter. Had a very deep count against Sean Casey, who hit one halfway back on the warning track and left, and then fell behind Greg Vaughn before striking him out. The 1-2 to Nagel, swing and a miss. He got him. There's strikeout number 2 for Al Leiter. 1 man down in the third. The second inning was a lot easier for Leiter, even though he gave up a base hit to Jeffrey Hammonds. He got a quick out on Dimitri Young and quick outs on the next 2 hitters, Caubency and Boone. One of the things that plagues Leiter is that he will run a lot of deep counts, and that means he'll throw a lot of pitches early in games. The Mets would love for him to keep his pitch count down here tonight and be able to go deep into this game. That would be a huge plus. Pokey Reese drew a walk leading off the first inning. Batting here with 1 out and nobody on in the third. Reese, a right-hand batter. And Leiter delivers home. And a slider on the inside corner, 0-1. Pokey Reese has hit far better than anybody would have expected. You look at his minor league numbers, he was never much of a hitter in the minor leagues. But Pokey is hitting .285 this season as the full-time second baseman. The 0-1 pitch missing inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. They always knew he could field. In fact, Pokey Reese is going to be the Reds shortstop when Barry Larkin is through playing. Jack McKeon's already said that. He's probably their best infielder at 3 positions. The 1-1 from Leiter and a changeup in the dirt. 2 balls and a strike to Reese. But this has been a breakout season for Pokey Reese. And hey, you look all around this Cincinnati team and you see players like that, guys having breakout years. Guys like Scott Williamson and Danny Graves in the bullpen, and Sean Casey and Dimitri Young and Aaron Boone. These guys are growing all at once. Leiter's 2-1 to Reese. Swing and a miss. Again, he threw the ball low out of the strike zone, and Reese chased that one. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Barry Larkin waits on deck. With Larkin's big hit ability, you love for him to come to bat with the bases empty. Now Leiter swings out of the windup. The 2-2 to Pokey leans him back, a fastball, and a full count to Reese, 3-2. Now Leiter looking for his 90th career victory. He's 89-71. He knows about pitching in big games. 2 years ago, he started Game 7 of the World Series for the Florida Marlins. The 3-2 to Reese. Ground ball hit to shortstop. Coming in Ordonez. He snags the hop off the carpet. Fires to Olerud. 2 men down. So Leiter gets Reese on a ground ball to shortstop. 2 up and 2 set aside. And now has a chance for his first 1-2-3 inning of the night as he faces Barry Larkin. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, contact your local Remax office. No one in the world sells more real estate than Remax. Larkin flied out to left field his first time up. The Reds have a pretty good record this year against left-handed starting pitchers. They're 27-16 when a lefty starts against them. Here's the pitch by Leiter, missing inside. But you look inside the numbers, and the Reds have actually hit far better against right-handers than they have against lefties. And there are a number of the Reds' right-hand batters who have not handled lefties very well, and Larkin's one of them. He's hitting 40 points higher against right-handers. The 1-0 pitch taken low inside, 2 balls and no strikes. Larkin got off to a miserably slow start this year. When the Mets were playing the Reds in April and May, Larkin looked like a shadow of his former self. But he picked it up around the middle of May and has had a solid season ever since, sitting at .294. The 2-0 from Leiter, and a changeup misses outside, and now Al behind on Larkin, 3 balls and no strikes with Sean Casey on deck.
Boy, the way Sean Casey has been hitting, you hate to put somebody on.
The outfield is stride toward left and deep against Larkin. Here's the 3-0 pitch. Too low, ball 4, and Larkin's on with a 2-out walk. Well, in the top of the inning, Steve Paris retired the first 2 hitters and then walked the number 2 hitter in the batting order, Edgardo Alfonso, and the Mets forged out a run after 2 out and nobody on. Now the Reds will try and do the same with Sean Casey coming up. Casey and Leiter had a long battle in the first inning, and Casey finally hit a long fly ball to left field that Henderson was able to run down on the warning track. Sean Casey, before the All-Star break, at .371. After the All-Star break, a much more human .290. But you put it all together, and he was the 4th leading hitter in the National League. .333 batting average at the moment. And the pitch to the plate, missing inside with a fastball, 1 ball and no strikes. Casey with 25 homers and 99 RBIs. If Casey gets an RBI tonight and gets to 100, the Reds will have 2 players with 100 RBIs for the first time in 22 years. It's going to go back to 1977 in the days of the Big Red Machine. George Foster and Johnny Bench each had 100 RBIs. The 1-0 pitch to Casey, swinging a foul ball off the mask of Piazza and back. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Reds score runs. They're 4th in the league in runs scored. Their pitching has been much more solid than anybody could have anticipated. They field the ball well. They are not a star-laden team except for Larkin and Vaughn, but they are a very, very good team. Here's the 1-1 to Casey. Fastball strike on the outside corner. Leiter able to nail the outside edge against the left-hand hitter. And now he's ahead on Sean Casey. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Casey looking down to Ron Oster, the Cincinnati born and bred third base coach. Dave Collins is the coach at first. Both Oster and Collins once played for the Reds. Casey pumping his back leg, open batting stance with his right toe pointed in. The 1-2 pitch off the outside corner. Leiter again trying to go away and just missed with that. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Mets 3, the Reds nothing. Mets had a lead 2 batters into the game. And Leiter thus far has made it stand up. Now working hard on Sean Casey with Greg Vaughn standing on deck. Larkin is on first with 2 down. This is the hitter that Leiter has got to get. He does not want to face Vaughn with 2 men on. Now Al comes down to the belt. And a toss to first, and Larkin is back. Derry has 30 stolen bases this year. The Reds run a lot. They're 4th in the league in stolen bases, 164 steals. Okie Reese led the team with 38 stolen bases. Larkin has 30. Mike Cameron also with 38, but Cameron not playing because of an injured hamstring. So that takes a little speed out of the lineup. Now Leiter ready, the 2-2 to Casey. Swing and a miss. He got him with a curveball. Leiter strikes out Sean Casey to end the inning. Second strikeout for Leiter. No runs, no hits, and a man left on. National League Division Series will begin in Atlanta and Arizona. The game in Atlanta tomorrow will start at 4 o'clock. Either the Reds or Astros will be there. The game in Arizona at 11 o'clock. Either the Mets or Astros will be there. And the pitch to Roger Cedeno, batting right-handed, taking a call strike, 0-1. The Astros right now are waiting in suspended animation. They're sitting in Houston wondering which direction they're supposed to fly. If the Mets win, the Astros go to Atlanta. If the Reds win, they go to Arizona. Swing and a miss, and a 2-strike count on Roger Cedeno.
Well, if they go to Arizona, they don't have a very long flight.
Not too terribly far either way. They're kind of in between. Cedeno is hitting only .200 as a right-hand batter. Nagel with the 0-2 on the inside corner. Strike 3 called. Nagel doing a great job picking off that inside corner with a fastball. And he has his first strikeout. 1 out and nobody on in the 4th for Ray Ordonez. One of the American League Division Series begins tomorrow. That's the Yankees and Texas in the Bronx. That'll be an 8 o'clock start tomorrow. The other one starts on Wednesday night with Boston playing in Cleveland as Pedro Martinez looks to get the Red Sox off to a fast start in the postseason. The pitch coming to Ordonez, and it's up and away from Nagel. 1 ball, no strikes.
Have you read whether or not Ramon Martinez is going to get a start in the postseason?
You know, I have not read that, but I would assume that Jimmy Williams is going to put him in there.
I would think so. He pitched awfully well, didn't he?
Here's the 1-0 pitch, and it misses inside to Ordonez, 2-0. Well, Jimmy had said that if Ramon pitched well down the stretch, he would get a spot in the rotation. I would figure he's their number 3 starter going into the playoffs behind Martinez and Saberhagen. The 2-0 to Ordonez, right down the middle for a strike, 2-1. Ray has been a much more patient hitter of late, and it's really fueled his surge at the end of the season. Ordonez, far more walks this year than he's ever had before. Rounded out to third base his first trip tonight. The 2-1 from Nagel, and a high fly ball hit to left center field. Cutting across is Jeffrey Hammonds, the center fielder, and Hammonds puts it away, 2 men down. So Ordonez is fly to center. 2 up and 2 set aside by Nagel in the 4th, and now Leiter will take his turn. It's about time. The awesome Festina Road Warrior, a collection of rugged alarm chronographs for those individuals with an unquenchable thirst to be the best and a passion to push the limits. Festina, it's about time. Leiter struck out his first time up against Steve Parris, now facing the left-hander Nagel, and a swing and a ground ball hit to second base. Easy play for Pokey Reese off the carpet, tosses to Casey, and a very strong 1-2-3 inning for Denny Nagel. Nothing across, middle of the 4th now in Cincinnati. The Mets 3, the Reds nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. Out that he recorded all night as having come in the 1st inning. The Mets had a 2-0 lead, but Leiter had walked the leadoff hitter Pokey Reese. And after 2 fly balls, he had Greg Vaughn at the plate in a position to be able to tie the game, and he fell behind him 3-1 and came back and got him looking at a 3-2 curveball. And now we're in the bottom of the 4th inning, and the Mets have a 3-0 lead, and Vaughn comes up for the second time, this time with the bases empty. It'll be Vaughn, then Dimitri Young and Jeffrey Hammonds against Leiter, who has walked 2 and struck out 3 and given up only 1 hit over these first 3 innings. Greg Vaughn with 45 home runs and 118 runs batted in. His batting average has been very low all year. He's hitting just .246, but his impact measured far beyond batting average. He gave the Reds a legitimate star player with a legitimate 40-plus home run power when he came over from San Diego, and that really helped make this Reds team believe that they could be a winner. The pitch by Leiter, missing inside, 1 ball, no strikes. The Reds all year have cited Greg Vaughn's calm and leadership skill as well as being instrumental in the Reds' success. Talk about is just exuding a winning attitude. The 1-0 pitch from Leiter, swing and a miss. He had a big cut at that. 1 ball and 1 strike. Vaughn has 2 career home runs and 22 at-bats against Al Leiter. He had one against Leiter earlier this year in the game in which the Reds beat Leiter in New York. Leiter pitched a gem of a game here in Cincinnati in April, then got beat by the Reds at Shea in late May. Here's the 1-1 on the way, and a high foul fly off to the left out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That start against the Reds on May the 31st was the last for Leiter before he pitched the game against the Yankees that snapped the Mets' 8-game losing streak. The Reds swept 3 from the Mets in that series, and that was part of that 8-game streak. And then Leiter came out the next start against Roger Clemens and pitched a great game and beat the Yankees to send the Mets in the positive direction. Fastball taken high by Vaughn, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That's when Clemens had the long unbeaten streak.
Yep.
Something like 20, I think it was.
Mets cracked that. They cracked Derek Jeter's on-base streak, and they cracked their 8-game losing streak all on the same night. And they turned their season completely around the day after 3 coaches got fired. Now Leiter kicks into the windup. The 2-2 to Vaughn. Swing and a miss. He got him. Leiter threw an off-speed pitch out away, and he strikes out Vaughn. That's 4 strikeouts now for Al Leiter. 1 out and nobody on in the 4th. And here comes Dimitri Young. Terrific prospect in the Cardinals organization for a long time. And when he first came up with St. Louis, it looked like he was going to be a full-time big hitter for St. Louis. But they lost the need for him when they acquired Mark McGwire. The pitch on the way from Leiter, popped it up foul, first base side, over near the dugout. It'll be in the crowd as Leiter goes over Olerud goes over for a look, 0-1. Last year, the Reds had a great need in the outfield, and they put Dimitri Young out there, and he struggled like the dickens trying to play the outfield. He was just brutal. But this spring, Dave Collins, who is now the Reds' first base coach, did extensive work with Dimitri Young, and he's actually become a pretty good outfielder now. He's stocky and not all that mobile, but he has become very adequate now, and with his bat, he's now practically a full-time player. Here's the wind by Leiter and the 0-1 pitch, and a full foul down the left field side. Leiter came in on the hands with the cutter, and Dimitri Young hit it into the upper deck behind third base. Really turned on that ball. 0-2. Sometimes when Leiter throws that cutter in on the hands, you can hit it, but the only place you can hit it is foul. It can't be a very comfortable night when the temperature's around 50 and he's throwing that pitch in on your fists. Here's the 0-2 to Young, way outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jeffrey Hammonds, playing center field tonight, is on deck. 3-0 New York. Cincinnati batting in the bottom of the 4th, and thus far Leiter has been terrific. He's had some big pitches to make here tonight, and he has made them. Mets gave him a lead before he ever took them out, and so far Leiter has done his job making it stand up. Now Piazza sends out a sign. Leiter kicks into the motion. Here's the 1-2 to Dimitri Young. Low and away with a changeup. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Boy, if Al Leiter could keep it together like this for 7 innings and turn it over to the bullpen, the Mets will be in good shape.
Now Young standing in from the right side, feet close together, far from the plate. Leiter into the windup. The 2-2 pitch in the dirt as he tried to stop the swing, and he did stop it in time. First base umpire Jerry Davis gives the safe sign. And a full count to Dimitri Young, 3-2. Leiter has walked 2 and struck out 4. But he's still given up only 1 hit. That was a Jeffrey Hammond single in the 2nd inning. Leiter will always run a lot of deep counts. That is just the nature of the way he pitches. And he's 3-2 on Young. Here's the payoff pitch. Gulfed in the air, first base side and foul ground. Olerud over near the dugout, but he'll run out of room. It lands in the front row behind the Cincinnati dugout. And Dimitri Young hangs in there at 3-2. Every seat taken here at Riverfront Stadium. Reds will have a new ballpark in about 3 years, which will also be down by the riverfront.
They're building a new football stadium, but they're about half through with that, I think.
They have not yet started the baseball stadium, but that is soon to come. This is one of those old, round, concrete AstroTurf edifices. The 3-2 from Leiter. Swinging a ground ball toward the middle. Diving stop by Ordonez. Gets to his feet. Guns to first, and he got him. Ray Ordonez diving on the AstroTurf, taking a base hit away from Dimitri Young. Sprawled out to his left. Ordonez popped to his feet and threw him out. Highlight film play by Ordonez. 2 men down.
Nobody is as effective as Ray Ordonez when he leaves his feet and makes that dive.
You know, Ray reminds me the most of Ozzie Smith when he makes that play on AstroTurf, because that's the play Ozzie always made playing in St. Louis, the way he was able to dive and then pop right back up again.
Having that good range on AstroTurf means so much because the ball just goes flying through there.
On dirt and grass, Ray will make slides and get to his feet that way. But on AstroTurf, you can't do that. Here's Jeffrey Hammonds, who has the only Cincinnati hit tonight. Leiter deals, swing and a miss at a fastball, 0-1. On the AstroTurf, if you try to slide, most of the time you're going to stick. So you're better off diving, and then you can bounce. And that's what Ordonez did there.
You can get some ugly rug burns that way, too.
Yes, you can. Now the 0-1 pitch and a high pop-up out near second base. Ordonez drifting behind the bag, gets under it. Ordonez makes the catch, and Leiter has a 1-2-3 inning for the first time tonight.
Because it's chilly. And it's getting colder as the night gets later. Waiting now for Ricky Henderson to get set in the batter's box. The veteran left-hander, Denny Nagel. Delivers, and it's a well-hit fly ball down the left field line. Will it stay fair? It may go. And it's going to be, yes, gone, a home run. Right down the line for Ricky Henderson. Ricky was still at home plate, not knowing whether it was fair or foul. And finally, we get a call from the umpire on the left field foul line, Rick Reeker. And Ricky Henderson has his 12th home run of the year. And the Mets now have a 4-0 lead.
Earlier this year, Ricky Henderson had a game here at Riverfront Stadium in which he hit 2 home runs. That one right down the line hit the foul screen. And that made it a home run. And now the Mets have opened up a 4-run lead.
Normally, when a ball is hit that high and right down the line, before it gets to that foul pole, it'll turn. But that one never wavered. It stayed just like an arrow going toward it. 4-0 in favor of New York. Alfonso, the hitter. Breaking ball in the dirt. Ball one. Well, that's Ricky's 12th home run of the year and his 42nd RBI.
They don't have a foul pole here in Cincinnati. They've got a screen that goes from the fence to the top of the stadium. And that ball struck right on the screen.
Next pitch by Denny Nagel, and it's a drive in the air to short left field. Racing in is Greg Vaughn, diving, made the catch. Oh, terrific play by Greg Vaughn, the left fielder. At the last moment, he had to make a headlong dive in order to grab it. So Fonzie has been robbed of a hit by the left fielder, Greg Vaughn. Now John Olerud will be the batter. We'll get warm-up action in the Cincinnati bullpen.
Right-hand hitter for Cedeno. You'd probably get that side-arming right-hander Sullivan, and that would make it a tough go.
Yeah, it certainly would, and he is tough. Darrell Hamilton battling against Denny Nagel. Now the runners lead from first and second. Breaking ball outside low. Full count now, 3-2. Cedeno so far tonight is hitless in 2 times at bat. Roger is grounded out, and he took a call, third strike. Now the runners will be in motion, 2 men away at the count, 3-2. There go the runners, the pitch. Foul ball headed toward the crowd down the left field line. So we will watch it once again. Denny Nagel had a couple of very big years with the Atlanta Braves. First half of this year, he had a bad shoulder and saw very little action. But the second half of the year, he has been fine. Full count now, 3-2 on Darrell Hamilton. The runners will be going. There they go, the pitch. Ground ball bounced slowly towards shortstop. Fielded by Barry Larkin. The throw. Safe! He's safe at first base. The bases are loaded. The throw pulled Sean Casey a little bit off the bag. And whether or not he would have been out had that not happened, I'm not sure.
Would have been a very, very close play. Hamilton can run, and Larkin really had to charge that ball and made an off-balance throw, kind of an awkward throw, high into the home plate side of the bag, so there was no way Casey could stay on, and the Mets load the bases.
And here's the answer to your question. Roger Cedeno will step in. So now the bases are loaded, 2 men away. Hamilton has a real good running speed, and he beat that throw. It is an infield hit. Mets now have 4 runs on 5 hits. The Reds no runs and 1 hit. So the Mets have a chance here to almost break this game open. Bases loaded and 2 men down. Cedeno batting against Denny Nagel. The left-hander gets set. Now the pitch. High and outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Mets have already scored 1 run this evening because of a bases-loaded walk.
Despite the strikeout his last time up, Cedeno has good numbers against Nagel, 5 for 15.
Those are good numbers. Cedeno waiting on Denny Nagel. And his bad swing and a miss, he was fooled by that. That evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. That was a breaking ball that was up. Those pitches that are up in a hitter's eyes, they sometimes will almost want to jump off the ground trying to get them. The infield and the outfield are straight away. And the pitch on the way. Swing and a foul straight back. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Roger Cedeno. Mets left 3 men on base in the 3rd inning. Now the crowd stands. The entire crowd comes to their feet. The count on the hitter is 1 ball, 2 strikes, with the bases loaded. Here's the pitch on the way. Foul ball back into the crowd. So Cedeno keeps his chances alive. Now he looks down to Cookie Rojas on the coaching lines at 3rd. Mookie Wilson coaching at 1st. 4-0, Mets lead. We're in the top half of the 5th inning. The bases are loaded. Piazza, the lead runner, on 3rd. And the pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. He went for a breaking ball and goes down swinging. So Nagel gets out of the jam. The Mets score 1 run. There were 2 hits. And 3 men were left on base. Now we're halfway, midway of the 5th inning in Cincinnati. It was number 1 in New York. It cost more to make Rheingold, but it's worth it. They are chanting Eddie, Eddie for Eddie Taubensee. Left-handed hitting catcher, batting at .312 on the year. Now Al Leiter is ready to go after the Reds in the last half of the 5th inning. Al has allowed no runs and only 1 hit. Swing on a miss. Good fastball by Leiter at a strike 1 count. When the Florida Marlins won the World Series, it was Al Leiter who started the 7th and deciding game of that World Series and pitched well into the 7th inning. Hit hard, right to Alfonso at second, 1 man down. Line drive directly to Edgardo Alfonso. That's one of the few real hard hit balls against Al Leiter. Now the third baseman, Aaron Boone, will come to bat.
With the pitcher due up next, Danny Graves, who has been the primary closer for the Reds this year, is up in the bullpen, but it's not unusual for Jack McKeon. He'll use his relievers in every kind of different role.
Chris Steins has come out on deck as a pinch hitter. Steins hitting at .241 on the year. The hitter now is Aaron Boone, the young third baseman. Right-hand hitter. And it's over at the letters for a call, strike 1. That's 4 runs on 5 hits. And the Reds no runs and 1 hit. Let's have the infield and the outfield straight away against Aaron Boone. Foul ball back toward the press box. That's out of play. Speaking of the press box, it is a very busy place here this evening. So much media covering this ball game. And as Gary mentioned, Danny Graves continues to work with real intent in the bullpen. That means he's coming in the game. Chris Steins is going to bat for Denny Nagel. Now the pitch on the way. Fastball off the outside corner. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
It's kind of a mixed bag for Denny Nagel. A bases-loaded walk, a home run allowed, but he also left the bases loaded twice.
He sure did. Let's have a chance to break it open. Pitching 1 and 2. Swing and a foul tip. He just got a piece of that. Aaron Boone has been a surprisingly good hitter this year for Cincinnati. Nobody expected him to swing the bat that well.
He was doing so poorly early in the season, they sent him to the minor leagues.
Yes, they did.
But since coming back, he's been phenomenal.
Funny how this game goes. You never know when you're going to catch a break and catch lightning in a bottle. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swing out of miss, struck him out. Number 5 for Al Leiter.
Well, you can really see Leiter gaining in confidence as this game goes along. Once he got past that first inning, things have really flowed well for him.
Now Chris Steins comes up as the pinch hitter. Stynes. Mike Piazza going out for a visit with Al Leiter, while Al uses that steel brush to try and scrape the mud out of his spikes. Chris Steins batting at .241, 2 home runs and 14 runs batted in. And then Danny Graves will be on the pitch in the 6th inning. If the Reds win, they go to Atlanta for a 4 o'clock game tomorrow afternoon against the Braves. If the Mets win, they go on to Arizona, where they play the Diamondbacks tomorrow night. Game that will start 8 o'clock in Phoenix. That's 11 o'clock back in New York. Swing and a miss, strike 1 to Chris Steins. Leiter has walked 2 and struck out 5. Jeffrey Hammonds, the center fielder, has the only hit off Al Leiter, and that was a single. Steins hits a ground ball down to third, fielded by Ventura. Here's the throw. Got him, and the side retired. That is 7 in a row retired now by Al Leiter.
And Nagel had 3.
Harris had 3, right.
Leiter has struck out and grounded to second base 0 for 2. Al has 10 sacrifices this year, and that leads the Mets pitching staff. He doesn't hit much, but he knows how to get a bunt down, although bunting on AstroTurf is a lot more dicey proposition than bunting on grass. The third baseman, Boone, playing about 45 feet away. Leiter squares, bunts foul at the plate, 0-1. If the Mets play Arizona in the best-of-5 division series, games 1 and 2 would be Tuesday and Wednesday nights in Phoenix. And contrary to earlier reports, both the games would begin at 11:05 Eastern Time, Tuesday night and Wednesday night. Thursday would be an off day. Games 3 and 4 would be at Shea Stadium at times to be determined. And then Game 5, if necessary, back in Arizona on Sunday. The pitch on the way to Leiter. Bunted out in front of the plate. Good bunt. Picked up by Taubensee. The play goes to first. Reese covering in time. A terrific job by Leiter, who comes up limping a bit as he runs that ball out. Leiter, of course, has had knee problems over the years. Looks like he's okay, and he's going to jog back toward the dugout. 2-4 on the sacrifice moves Ordonez to second base. Leiter walking gingerly as he goes back, but it looks like he is okay. Leiter uses a very heavy wrap on his left knee to compensate for problems that he had earlier in the season. So 1 out and a runner in scoring position. The Mets already with a 4-0 lead. And here's Ricky Henderson, who has had a huge hand in this game so far. Henderson singled the lead off the game and scored on Alfonso's home run. And then he had a home run of his own in the 5th inning, his 12th of the year, right off the foul screen down the left field line. Ordonez at second and 1 away. Danny Graves working in relief, the 3rd Cincinnati pitcher of the night. 26-year-old right-hander, not a big guy, just 5'11", 185. And the pitch coming to Henderson moves him back off the plate with a fastball. 1 ball and no strikes. Now, walks have been such a huge part of the Mets' arsenal all year long, and they have used the walk to good effect here tonight. One of their runs came on a bases-loaded walk to Robin Ventura. 7 walks in the first 5 1/3 innings issued by the Reds pitching staff. Now, Graves with the 1-0 in the dirt. Stopped by Taubensee on a hop. 2 balls and no strikes, and Graves having awful problems throwing strikes coming on here in the 6th inning. Graves gets a new baseball and begins to rub it up on the mound. It's a cool evening here in Cincinnati. Temperature probably around 50 degrees right now. Reds played in much less favorable conditions yesterday in Milwaukee. It was not only colder than this, it was much, much wetter. Ordonez a short lead at second. Reese trying to keep him close. The 2-0 pitch. Fastball strike on the inside corner. 2 balls and a strike to Henderson, with Edgardo Alfonso waiting on deck. This crowd was raucous early in the game here in Cincinnati. They have cooled down considerably. They've had very little to cheer about here. Al Leiter has held them to 1 hit over 5 innings, and the Mets took a lead before anybody was retired. The 2-1 to Henderson. Line drive the other way. Caught by a diving Casey. What a play by Sean Casey, the first baseman. That ball was ticketed for right field, and Sean Casey, a right-hand throwing first baseman, made a diving catch, reaching across his body, flat out to his right, and took a base hit away from Henderson for the 2nd out.
That was absolutely spectacular.
I didn't think there was any way that Sean Casey could catch that ball.
I didn't know he was that good with the glove.
That ball was pretty far off the ground. Usually, if you make those diving catches, they're pretty low to the ground. But Casey had to fling his body through the air at a pretty high trajectory, and he still was able to make that glove, reaching across his body on the backhand. So now 2 out, and Ordonez still at second. And here's Edgardo Alfonso. Fonzie hit a 2-run homer in the 1st inning to get the Mets jump-started. His 27th home run of the year. He's also walked and fly to left. And the pitch by Graves and a slider low outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Alfonso was robbed of a hit his last time up. He hit the ball to shallow left field, and Greg Vaughn made a terrific sliding play. Both teams have played good defense in this game. The Mets, though, have a 4-0 lead. Mets have twice left the bases loaded. Otherwise, they'd already be home free. Graves gives a look at second. The 1-0 to Alfonso, low and outside. Again, Graves is behind. He walked Ordonez on 4 pitches leading off the inning. Leiter sacrifice. He fell behind Henderson, and then Henderson hit that line drive that Casey made the diving catch on. And now he's behind Alfonso 2-0 with John Olerud waiting on deck. No action now in the Cincinnati bullpen. One of the few times it's been quiet tonight. The 2-0 to Alfonso, swinging a drive foul down the right field line. That'll settle into the big crowd. 2 balls and a strike. Mets Radio would like to recognize Anthony Fiorenza of Local 21 as the United Association member of the game. The United Association making life livable for all Americans. Alfonso hitting at .304. He now has 107 runs batted in. Looking for the 2-out hit to pick up Ordonez from second base. The outfield playing deep. So any base hit to the outfield, Ray's going to score. By Graves. And the 2-1 pitch. Line drive. Base hit going into left center field. It's splitting the gap and going to the wall. Ordonez will score. Alfonso on his way to second. Picked up by Hammonds and played in. It's an RBI double for Edgardo Alfonso. His third run batted into the night. And now the Mets have a 5-0 lead. Alfonso having a big night in this tiebreaker game. He lined one over short, then went up the gap on the AstroTurf and all the way back to the fence. 5-0 New York. Let's pause for station identification on the WFAN Mets radio network.
Cubs fired Jim Riggleman after their worst season since 1980. Shane Spencer's left off the Yankees postseason roster. Mike and the Mad Dog, weekdays 1 until 6 on WFAN New York.
Gary Cohen, Bob Murphy with you from Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. Mets have now opened up a 5-0 lead in the top of the sixth. John Olerud the batter, and he takes low and inside 1-0. Mets with 2 in the first on an Alfonso home run, 1 in the third on a bases-loaded walk to Ventura, 1 in the fifth on a Henderson home run, and 1 here in the sixth on Alfonso's double, his third RBI of the game. Dennis Reyes gets up in the Cincinnati pen. The 1-0 pitch, low on the outside corner to Olerud, just at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike. Olerud has a double in 3 trips tonight. His 2-base hit in the third inning set the stage for the bases-loaded walk to Ventura. The outfield plays a stride toward left against Olerud. His double was his 39th of the year, 1 behind Alfonso for the club lead. And now time is asked for, and Olerud steps out. Danny Graves has not looked sharp coming on here in the 6th inning. A 4-pitch walk to Ordonez began his troubles. Ordonez has now come around to score. The infield around to the right, the outfield toward left. The 1-1 to Olerud. Curveball line off the glove of Graves. He picks it up with the bare hand and underhands to first in time. That shot was headed toward the middle. Graves got his glove on it and knocked it down, and then picked it up and flipped to first to get Olerud. It's a powerhouse offensive team. They're 4th in the National League in runs scored. They're 3rd in the league in home runs. But they have been held completely at bay by Al Leiter here tonight. Leiter coming off a terrific start his last time out against the Atlanta Braves. He posted the only win in those 6 games down the stretch against Atlanta. Now Piazza flashes a sign, 1-2 to Larkin in the dirt. Knocked down by the shoulder of Mike Piazza. And it's even on Larkin, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sean Casey adjusting his helmet as he waits in the on-deck circle. Barry Larkin settles in from the right side. Leiter stares in to get his sign. The 2-2 to Larkin. Ground ball foul. Down past Ron Oster, the third base coach, who does not attempt to make a play, but merely moves his leg to get out of the way. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. Kenny Rogers continuing to do his tune-up work in the Mets bullpen. Now the Mets, if they can secure 11 more outs, can get themselves in a postseason mode and set up their rotation for their series against the Diamondbacks, if it comes to pass. Mets have a 5-0 lead. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. Now Leiter steps off and mops his brow. It's a very cool evening, a night when you would figure that a pitcher would retain his stamina awfully well. And Leiter's thrown only 84 pitches working here in the 6th. The 2-2 pitch. Looped foul behind the first base dugout and out of play, and Larkin with a long time at bat, hanging tough against Al Leiter. Leiter really cemented his position as a big game pitcher 2 years ago in Game 7 of the World Series. Nobody talked about Leiter after that game because he had been long gone when the issue was decided, but he did a great job keeping Florida in that game. The 2-2 pitch in the dirt, ball 3. Marlins wound up winning it in the 11th inning on Edgar Renteria's winning hit. And Leiter was an afterthought, but Leiter really came up big, and that was really a turning point game in his career. Leiter refers back to that game often, talking about how he had gotten beat up early in the series and how he had learned that he can't just throw hard all the time, that he needed to use his changeup and his curveball more, and that he told himself before that Game 7 against the Indians to be a different kind of a pitcher. And he carried that over into last year when he came to the Mets and had the best season of his career. The crowd rising here in Cincinnati. It's 3-2 to Larkin. Here's the payoff pitch on the outside corner. Strike 3 called. Leiter with an off-speed pitch gets Barry Larkin looking, and Larkin looks back at Bruce Fleming in disbelief. Leiter with strikeout number 6. He's now retired 9 Reds in a row. What a terrific pitch by Al Leiter. He dented that outside corner with a curveball.
It was just perfect. Absolutely perfect.
So 2 out and nobody on here in the bottom of the 6th.
Boy, it must feel good when you're a talented pitcher and all those nights when you can do just about anything you want.
Usually it takes Leiter an inning or 2 to get there, and it did tonight. But boy, is he locked in now. Casey has flied deep to left and struck out 0 for 2. Left-hander against left-hander. And Leiter fires. Fastball outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Sean Casey against right-hand pitching this year is hitting .356. Against the lefties, though, just .277. About what you'd expect for a left-hand hitter of his caliber. The outfield plays him to hit toward left. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Low and outside, and Leiter behind 2-0. Al has walked 2 tonight. The last walk came in the 3rd inning to Larkin, and since then, he has set down 9 in a row and struck out 4 of the 9. And he's working with a 5-0 lead. Greg Vaughn standing on deck. Now Leiter's 2-0 pitch. Swinging a tapper toward third. Ventura's got it. Takes his time. Throws to first in plenty of time to get Casey. A 1-2-3 inning for Al Leiter. He has now set down 10 Reds in a row. Nothing across. 6 in the books now in Cincinnati. It's the Mets 5 and the Reds nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. There's the Reds, no runs, 1 hit, and no errors. Mike Piazza, Robin Ventura, and Darryl Hamilton, the 3 hitters due up against Danny Graves, who gave up a run in a shaky 6th inning, and it would have been worse had Graves not been able to get his glove in the way of a line drive by John Olerud that appeared ticketed toward the middle. That would have produced at least 1 more run. Piazza's been up 3 times tonight and walked all 3 times. And the pitch by the right-hander Graves on the inside corner, a strike, 0-1. Piazza was walked intentionally in the 3rd inning to load the bases. They brought in Denny Nagel to face Robin Ventura, and Nagel walked Ventura to force in a run. That gave the Mets their 3rd run. A pitch, curveball in for a called strike, and Graves in front on Piazza, 0-2. Mike with 40 home runs and 124 runs batted in. Both those numbers match career highs set 2 years ago with the Dodgers. The 0-2 pitch, fastball hit on the ground to second base. Reese knocks it down, picks it up, tosses to Casey, 1 man down. Okie Reese playing deep beyond the outfield rim. Got over and got his glove on that ball and kept it in front of him. 1 out and nobody on in the 7th. And here's Robin Ventura. Robin banged into a double play in the 1st inning, but he's walked twice since then, and one of them drove in his 120th run of the year. So the Mets with 2 players now with 120 or more runs batted in. That is quite a 1-2 punch, Piazza and Ventura. The pitch by Danny Graves, and a breaking ball strike on the outside corner, 0-1. Steve Parris started for the Reds tonight, and he struggled very quickly. Parris went 2 2/3, allowed 3 runs and 3 hits, hurt himself with 3 walks. The 0-1 pitch in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. Denny Nagel came on, and he had mixed success. Nagel went 2 1/3, allowed 1 run and 2 hits. He also walked 3. And Graves has walked 1 since he came on in the 6th. So the Mets have only 6 hits, but they've drawn 7 walks tonight. And they have really cashed in the extra base hits. 4 of their 6 hits have been for extra bases. 2 doubles and home runs by Alfonso and Henderson. The 1-1 to Ventura. Fastball strike on the inside corner. And Graves gets ahead on Ventura. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The outfield deep and a step toward left against Ventura. Now the 1-2 from Graves. Swing and a miss. He got him with a curveball. Danny Graves strikes out Robin Ventura. 2 men down. First strikeout for Graves. 2 out and nobody on for Darryl Hamilton. This is a memorable date in New York baseball history. It was 44 years ago today, October the 4th, 1955, that the Brooklyn Dodgers won their only world championship. Johnny Padres pitched Game 7 against the Yankees, beat them 2-0, and set off the biggest celebration in the history of the borough. The pitch to Hamilton, taken outside, 1 ball, no strikes.
In recent years, Johnny Padres was a marvelous pitching coach for the Phillies.
Here's the 1-0 pitch, taken low, 2-0.
I hope he's feeling all right.
I hope so, too. Yesterday was also a very important anniversary, the 48th anniversary of Bobby Thompson's home run, and it was so fitting that Ralph Branca was in the ballpark yesterday. Here's the 2-0 pitch, outside 3-0 to Hamilton. Ralph is Bobby Valentine's father-in-law, and of course it was Branca who gave up Thompson's famous home run, and I loved Ralph's line after the game. He said, October 3rd owed our family one.
They sure did.
And they got it back yesterday.
Ralph has always handled that with such great class.
3-0 to Hamilton, inside ball 4, and the Mets have a 2-out base runner, the 8th walk given up tonight by Cincinnati pitching. Yeah, he and Bobby Thompson do the banquet circuit, and they've become the greatest of friends over the years. And Ralph has lived his entire life for 48 years with that moment.
And Ralph does such good work working with the veteran the organization that helps downtrodden ball players.
The baseball assistant team. He is a big contributor. Here's Roger Cedeno 0 for 3. He's grounded out and struck out twice. Batting left-handed here against Graves, and he takes a strike, 0-1. Cedeno batted twice as a right-hand batter against Denny Nagel, and Nagel struck him out both times, one of them in a key spot with the bases loaded and 2 out of the 5th inning. Mets have twice left the bases loaded in this game, and yet they lead 5-0. The 0-1 pitch and a curveball strike on the outside corner. And Graves looking a lot better here in the 7th inning than he did in the 6th. He's throwing that curveball more, and he's getting it over for strikes. Hamilton on first and 2 men down. We're in the top of the 7th inning, 5-0 New York. Mets trying to secure a spot in the postseason. Graves off the stretch, the 0-2. Fastball line off the leg of Graves into foul territory, third base side. Hamilton around second. He'll hold up there as it's run down by Aaron Boone in front of the Mets dugout. And now we'll see whether Danny Graves is okay. That ball hit him in the leg like a shot and then caromed off into foul territory on the third base side. Graves limped over toward third base, and he's now standing hands on knees, and the trainer's going to come out. The pitching coach, Don Gullett, and the manager, Jack McKeon, all out, showing concern for Danny Graves.
I'd be shocked if he's able to stay in this game.
While they look at him, Scott Sullivan quickly runs down to the bullpen mound to loosen up.
He got hit about as hard as you can be hit.
Give Graves credit. He ran after that ball after taking that shot in the leg. Boy, Cedeno really hit that ball hard. Didn't see exactly where it got him, but it hit him hard. Near the left knee, I think. Or maybe not.
He's trying to walk around. It hit him somewhere on that left leg between his knee and his foot, I believe.
Graves is limping back toward the mound, flexing it's his right leg that he's flexing. And I think he's trying to convince them to let him stay in. He got his right leg. I thought at first it was his left. But Cedeno really smacked that ball hard. Fly to center, and then he walked and scored a run against Graves in the 6th inning. Ray came into the day with a 7-game hitting streak. Hamilton is on second. Cedeno at first. Good speed out there with 2 men down. That's trying to expand on a 5-0 lead. Graves deals to Ordonez, swinging a foul ball back, 0-1. I guess Ray figured that Graves, after getting smacked, would just try and lay one in. And he was ready to swing, but he fouled it off, 0-1. Scott Sullivan just standing around now on the bullpen mound for the Reds after Graves is able to continue following that line drive off his leg. Ordonez with 60 runs batted in this year out of the number 8 spot in the batting order. And a chance to drive in a run here with a 2-out hit. The Reds don't play that shallow in the outfield, even against Ordonez. The pitch by Graves, curveball, bounced foul outside third down to Cookie Rojas, who makes a nice one-handed grab. And a 2-strike count on Ray Ordonez. Learn why Rheingold Extra Dry is quickly becoming a New York favorite again. Taste New York's best lager beer, brewed to its original extra dry recipe. And check us out on the web at www.rheingoldbeer.com. Full house here in Cincinnati, and they have had very, very little to cheer about. Boy, were they loud early in this game. Both before the game started and when the Reds came to bat in the 1st inning. But the Mets have silenced the throng here at Riverfront tonight with their bats, with their gloves, and with the left arm of Al Leiter. 2 out and 2 on. Graves has set the 0-2 to Ordonez. Way inside with a curveball. That one never broke. And Ordonez had to run for his life. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Leiter is standing on deck. And Graves is taking that shot, has really slowed down the pace. He was working rapidly up until that point. But now it's almost like he's trying to feel his way and get through the inning. Reese trying to keep Hamilton close at second. He backs off. The 1-2 to Ordonez, low and away, and it's even on Ray. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Cincinnati bullpen, statistically the best in the National League this year, and nobody would have figured that when the year began. Danny Graves was completely untested. Scott Williamson, a rookie, and all the others virtually unknowns. Here's the 2-2 pitch, curveball, swing, and a miss. He got it. Danny Graves comes back to strike out Ray Ordonez to end the inning. And swinging in the 4th inning. That gave Leiter a 2-0 lead before he ever took the mound. He had a shaky start walking the leadoff batter in the 1st inning. He got Barry Larkin on a fly ball, gave up a long fly ball to Sean Casey that was caught halfway back on the warning track, and then he struck out Greg Vaughn to get through that troublesome 1st inning. And Leiter has been absolute gold ever since.
This sold-out crowd now is going to have a rally of their own. They're all on their feet, making as much noise as they can.
They've had so little to cheer about here tonight. Greg Vaughn, with the 2 strikeouts tonight, is now fanned 137 times this year. He's a classic power hitter in that he will swing from the heels and strike out a lot. Leiter out of the windup, and the pitch coming to Vaughn. Taken high, 1-0. And this is a great spot for Leiter to face Vaughn. You got a 5-0 lead. You can challenge the hitter. If he hits the ball out of the ballpark, it's only 1 run. Dimitri Young stands on deck. The outfield deep in a stride toward left against Vaughn, who holds the bat out over the plate. Now the pitch, and a cutter misses inside, and Leiter behind, 2 balls and no strikes. Something you don't want to do is walk it, because what the Reds need more than anything else is traffic on the bases to create a multiple-run inning to get back in the game. Now Leiter winds, the 2-0 pitch to Vaughn. Change-up strike on the outside corner, 2-1. Leiter will throw that fastball. Less a changeup and more just taking something off. He calls it his BP fastball. Just to get it over pitch. Now Piazza flashes out a sign. The 2-1 pitch to Vaughn, swinging a foul straight back. And he gets even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mets Radio would like to recognize Jeff Bronte of Local 373 as the United Association member of the game. The United Association making life livable for all Americans. 2-2 to Greg Vaughn, leading off at the bottom of the 7th. Mets wearing their road grays tonight, and they've been lucky uniforms so far this evening. The 2-2 to Vaughn, and a high pop-up behind home plate, playable for Piazza to the 3rd base side. He's under it, makes the catch, 1 man down. Vaughn fouls to the catcher. 11 in a row retired by Al Leiter, and Vaughn held completely in check tonight by Al Leiter. Let's pause for station identification on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Bills and Dolphins tied at 3 in the 1st. Terrell Davis and Chad Cascadden out for the year with knee injuries. Imus in the morning, weekdays, 5:30 until 10 on WFAN New York.
Gary Cohen, Bob Murphy with you from Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning in this wild card tiebreaker. The Mets with a 5-0 lead. They have led right throughout. 2 runs in the 1st inning before a batter was retired on a Edgardo Alfonso home run. And the Mets have been in command ever since. Al Leiter pitching an absolute masterpiece. The pitch to Dimitri Young, blooped in the air, shallow center field. Coming in hard is Hamilton, and Hamilton makes the catch. Hamilton got a great break on that ball, hit the shallow center field, and made it an easy play to retire Dimitri Young for the 2nd out. 12 in a row for Al Leiter.
What a marvelous performance by Al Leiter. He just keeps getting one big hitter after another.
We talk about coming up big in a big spot. Oral Hershiser did it yesterday. Al Leiter is doing it today, and the Mets have had so many of these performances by their pitchers down the stretch. Rick Reed, Kenny Rogers, Masato Yoshi, they have all had big games coming down the stretch.
Since they got rid of that losing streak, they've been pitching sensationally.
Here's Jeffrey Hammonds. Hammonds has singled to left and pops it short, 1 for 2, and a couple of idiots have run out on the field. And so will be delayed. This copyrighted broadcast is presented by the authority of Sterling Doubleday Enterprises solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Sterling Doubleday Enterprises. Well, Ohio's finest are putting handcuffs on the two antisocial characters who've decided to spoil it for everybody else and run out on the field.
Yeah, they're going to pay. They're going to pay for this.
The cops are doing their job properly and taking them off. The crowd, for some reason, is cheering these fools, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I was hoping they were cheering the police.
Yeah. So we'll wait while they're taken off. I know you've said it often, Bob. Often, when these people disrupt the game this way, they think that they'll get on TV.
But they won't.
Nope. TV will not show them. And that's as it should be. You don't want to encourage that kind of behavior.
Absolutely.
So Leiter, you hope, will be unfazed by that. Jeffrey Hammond steps in. Hammond says the only hit for the Reds tonight. He's singled to left back in the second inning. The only base knock for a team that's hitting .273 on the season. Hammond's popped as short as last time, 1 for 2. Right-hand batter, and Leiter ready to resume. The pitch on the way, and a high fly ball hit to left center field. Pretty deep. Back goes Hamilton. He has room at the edge of the warning track with Henderson. They come together, and Henderson, I believe, made the catch. We're going to the 8th inning here in Cincinnati. Bob Murphy, when you put together a ball club and you start a season, there are certain guys you expect to be your big-time performers, and one of those is Al Leiter, and he has certainly come up big time here tonight.
We have never seen Al Leiter pitch a better ball game than he has pitched for the New York Mets here tonight. The most important game they have played all year long. Leiter has been as big as you could be. And Leiter leads off as we go to the 8th inning. Danny Graves pitching his 3rd inning of relief in the ball game. Here's the pitch on the way to Al Leiter as we move to the 8th inning. And he takes inside and low. It's ball 1. Leiter laid down a real good sacrifice bunt in the 6th inning. Then moved Ordonez to second. He came in to score on a hit by Edgardo Alfonso. Now it's low inside, 2 balls and no strikes. If the Mets win, they'll be boarding their charter flight for Phoenix, Arizona after the ball game. Swing and a foul ball, no play, 2 balls and a strike. It is not a short flight by any means. It is in Pacific time, so the Mets will gain 3 hours as far as the evening getting late is concerned. But since this game will send the Mets into postseason play, you can bet there'll be quite a celebration and ceremony in the clubhouse after the game is over.
Nobody cares much about sleep when you get to this point.
Boy, isn't that the truth? And the pitch thrown to Leiter, ground ball back, through the pitcher's legs, picked up by Barry Larkin. Larkin throws to first for the out. That went right through the wickets on Danny Graves.
He's probably just as happy after the one that smacked him in the leg the last time.
And you didn't want Al Leiter running hard on that. You want him to save his remaining energy for the last of the 8th inning. We go to the top of the order now for Ricky Henderson. Ricky has 2 for 4, a single and a home run. He's had a very good night with the bat. He scared everybody to death when he almost ran into center fielder Darrell Hamilton on that last fly ball. It is the center fielder who calls for balls in the outfield. And a fastball over for a call strike.
Well, you can certainly understand if Ricky didn't hear with the big crowd we have tonight.
Boy, I'll say 54,621. And they sold all those tickets today. That's amazing. Danny Graves deals. And Ricky lays off, takes it high. 1 ball and 1 strike.
It's only their 3rd sellout of the season here in Cincinnati.
They have drawn over 2 million. They'll be finishing up at about 2,000,001. That's finished up 2,725,000. They had a very good year. And a strike call to the outside corner. 1 ball and 2 strikes. This has been a very good year for Danny Graves. He has won 8 and lost 7, a 3.08 earned run average. And he has 109 innings out of the bullpen, so he has really worked a lot. So has Scott Williamson. Scott Williamson has won 12 games coming out of the bullpen. And a high fly ball hit fairly deep to center. Jeffrey Hammonds has it lined up. He's under it waiting, and he makes the catch. So 2 outs and nobody on in the Mets' 8th inning. 4,621, the paid crowd. Strike call, a good fastball to the outside corner. Leiter has been so dominating here this evening. The Mets bullpen has not been up a single time. Right now, Al Leiter has retired the last 13 to face him. And a pop foul headed toward the crowd behind the first base dugout. So a 2-strike count on Edgardo Alfonso. Mets must fly to Arizona, to Phoenix after the game is over if they get a victory. Masato Yoshi will pitch against Randy Johnson, the big unit, in the opening game of the best 3 of 5 series.
Mets faced Randy once this year, and he completely shut them down. I think it was a 10-1 final at Shea Stadium.
He can just absolutely dominate a game. He's having one of his good nights. And he lost a number of games like 1-0 or 2-1. And a ground ball hit back, knocked down by the pitcher. He picks it up. He throws to first. Oh, close play, but just in time, and he's out. So once again, he almost got hit on the leg. Some of the Cincinnati fans' frustration is starting to show now. Some things have been thrown out of the stands on the field. Sometimes it's being taken here for the ground crew to come out and clean up. And another young man ran out on the field, and he got corralled by the Cincinnati police, which is only good and proper.
One thing the Mets are going to have to deal with very quickly if they win this game is setting their postseason roster. You have to set that 25-man roster by 9 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow morning, and there's some very tough decisions to be made.
Well, Steve Phillips is here. He's traveling with the team. So is Omar Minaya. They'll all get together, I'm sure, in Bobby Valentine's office and make those decisions.
The first question is what balance between pitchers and position players. The Mets for most of the year went with 12 pitchers. They probably will not go with more than 11. They could even go with 10, and that would open up more positions in terms of position players, but then you have to decide which pitchers to take off, and that's a hard call.
What do you think about Bobby Bonilla? Will he make it?
That's a good question. If you figure the Mets keep 11 pitchers, that would be 5 starters, plus Benitez, Franco, Cook, Wendell, Mahomes, and Dotel. That would leave 14 position spots. The 8 starters, Franco, Agbayani, Dunston, Pratt, and Lopez. That leaves 1 more spot. And that could be Bonilla, or it could be Melvin Mora.
Bobby has been using Melvin Mora a lot defensively.
The problem with Bonilla in a situation where you don't have the expanded rosters, if he pinch hits, you got to run for him, and that makes it tough.
Yeah, right now, for example, Melvin Mora has just come on to play left field, replacing Ricky Henderson. It is the last of the 8th inning. Ed Thomas is standing in against Al Leiter. Leiter has retired. The last 13 batters to face him. So the veteran left-hander deals. And it's off the outside corner. 1 ball and no strikes. Both Steve Phillips, the general manager, and his assistant, Omar Minaya, are traveling with the ball club. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Swing and a foul tap. No play.
In fact, the entire brass is here. Jim Duquette and Carmen Fusco, also right-hand men for Steve Phillips, also in the ballpark here tonight. They've all gathered to watch the Mets try and get to the postseason.
Other major league clubs have asked for permission to speak to Omar Minaya and Jim Duquette. Breaking ball off the outside corner. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, Minaya interviewed for both the Milwaukee and Colorado GM's jobs. He came up short, but he'll have a GM's job before long.
Yeah, he's going to be a GM, and he'll be a very good one. He's really a top-notch young baseball executive. 2-1 count on Eddie Tabazi. Way inside. That almost nicked him. So Leiter falls behind. 3 balls and a strike. Al has walked 2 and struck out 6. The only hit he has allowed has been a single to Jeffrey Hammonds. That was in the 2nd inning of the game. Right now, Leiter behind the hitter. 3 balls and a strike. And the pitch on the way. Missed inside. Ball 4. So Tabazi is on with a walk. That breaks the spell. Leiter had retired 13 consecutive hitters. Aaron Boone will be coming up. Mark Lewis moving out on deck to be a pinch hitter. And again, the outfielders have to pick up a few things that have been thrown on the playing field. So here's Aaron Boone standing in, right-hand batter facing Al Leiter. And the pitch on the way. That just misses. 1 ball and no strikes. Last of the 8th inning. Barry Larkin reached on a walk back in the third inning, and the Reds have not had anybody on base until now. Next pitch, over for a strike call. And now for the first time, we'll get some stirring around in the New York Mets bullpen.
104 pitches now for Al Leiter.
He's certainly strong enough to handle that all right.
Kirk Wendell's going to start to loosen up.
The 1-1 pitch is fouled deep down the left field line. That goes out of play. Sailing into the crowd. It was well hit, but it was foul all the way.
And up in the bullpen along with Wendell is John Franco. John has played his entire spectacular Major League career without ever playing a postseason game.
He is really looking forward to this. He's absolutely thrilled by what's going on.
And how fitting if Franco were to take the mound here tonight in Cincinnati against the team from whom the Mets acquired him in order to get to the postseason for the first time.
Yeah, John became a star right here with the Cincinnati Reds. Next pitch on the way. Foul ball. That's down the right field line, sailing toward the crowd. So now the count is 1 ball, 2 strikes on Aaron Boone. Mark Lewis is the pitch hitter waiting on deck.
Not only has John Franco never tasted the postseason, the same is true for Bobby Valentine. All these years of managing, never in the postseason. He has a chance now.
It'll taste better to Bobby than to anybody. Ground ball hit toward the middle, grabbed by Ordonez. Steps on second, throws to first, double play. A double play. Ordonez racing to his glove side, snagged the hop, run over, stepped on second, and threw on to first.
Well, that one was made easy. It came off the mound and took a big kangaroo hop right to Ordonez, and that made it a very simple play for Ordonez to step on the bag and throw on.
Now the pitch hitter is Mark Lewis, right-hand batter, hitting at .256 on the year. Lewis, a veteran ball player, right-hand hitter. We are now in the last of the 8th inning, 2 outs and nobody on, 5-0, the Mets leading. Al Leiter has allowed only 1 base hit. And the pitch on the way, it's up and in. A few days ago, Rick Reed pitched a marvelous 3-hit shutout. Right now, here tonight in Cincinnati, in this unbelievably important game to the Mets, Al Leiter is doing even better. Now Leiter sighting in. Swing out of this. Oh, he's still got a good fastball going here in the 8th inning. He threw that one right by the pinch hitter, Mark Lewis. That's straight away against Lewis, a right-hand hitter. John Franco and Turk Wendell both loosening in the bullpen for New York. On a rather chilly night in Cincinnati, Ohio. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Ground ball hammered right at Ray Ordonez. He's got it. Here's the throw to Olerud. Got him, and the inning is over. So Mark Lewis grounds out short to first. No runs, no hits, nobody left on. At the end of 8 innings at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, the Mets 5 and the Reds nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. Reyes last year pitched with both the Dodgers and the Cincinnati Reds. He was with the Dodgers early and the Reds late. Before that, he would go back and forth between the Dodgers and their Albuquerque or San Antonio farm clubs. Left-hander Dennis Reyes.
A big, hefty Mexican left-hander.
He certainly is.
Looks exactly like Fernando Valenzuela.
John Olerud is the leadoff batter in the 9th inning. Fastball at the knees, strike 1 call. Well, it's about time. Europe's fastest-growing watch line is now in America. Festina watches. The trend-setting styling of the Festina collection of watches are available at fine jewelers, including Select Hanush Jewelers. 1 ball, 1 strike to John Olerud. John has a double in 4 times at bat. And a line drive over second base hit into center field. Waiting for it is Jeffrey Hammonds. He'll play it back to the infield. So John Olerud has his 2nd hit of the night. Reds in the 9th inning will have the top of their batting order coming up. Hoagie Reese, Barry Larkin, and Sean Casey. If the Mets win, they're on their way to Phoenix, Arizona. Sean Casey holding against John Olerud at first. Ground ball hit toward the hole. Grabbed by the third baseman Boone. He throws to second 1. And on to first, yes, a 5-4-3 double play. So Piazza, who has hit into more double plays, that anybody in the league hits into a 5.43.
And that sets a new Mets club record, his 27th of the year, one more than the old mark held by Cleon Jones.
2 outs and nobody on now, the top of the ninth. Here's Robin Ventura. Robin has walked twice. Otherwise hit into a double play and was struck out. Mets have 5 runs on 8 hits. The Reds have no runs, only 1 hit. A second inning single by Jeffrey Hammonds. Swing and a smash towards second. Base hit going into center field. Racing over to pick it up is the right fielder, Dimitri Young. And Robin Ventura is on with a solid base hit. Clean, hard single into right center. Darrell Hamilton has 1 for 3, an infield hit. He also has drawn a walk. For the Mets, Edgardo Alfonso, the hitting star. He's driven in 3 of the 5 scored by New Yorker tonight. Robin Ventura drove in a run, and Ricky Henderson hit a home run to drive one in. Ricky's home run, his 12th of the year. Pitched by Dennis Reyes. Foul ball back into the stands. No play. Huge sellout crowd here at Cinergy Field or Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio, on a very cool night. Now Darrell Hamilton lets it go low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike.
And a lot of them are beginning to find warmer venues.
Yeah, you can see quite a few empty seats now. But they put on quite a show. They were just yelling their hearts out in the first part of the game. Mets never gave them a reason to have anything to cheer for. Ground ball hit hard right at the shortstop, Barry Larkin. He flips it to the second baseman, Pokey Reese. Force play, and the inning is over. So, in the top of the 9th inning, no runs. 2 hits and a man left on. Middle of the 9th inning in Cincinnati. It is the Mets 5 and the Reds nothing on the WFAN Mets Radio Network. A terrific year for Jack McKean and the Reds. Right field line umpire calling time for a moment. Something is loose on the field that they want picked up and thrown away. It's a full count, 3-2 now on the right-handed batter, Pokey Reese. Leiter moving so close to his 13th win of the year. Here's the windup by Leiter. Now the pitch. Look out. Foul ball back toward our radio booth and out of reach. So the count holds at 3-2. When the game is over, there'll be some celebration in the clubhouse. Players have to shower. They have to pack their bags. Charlie Samuels gets it all together. They'll go to the airport and get on a charter. Probably have about a 4.5-hour flight to get to Phoenix, Arizona. That is 3 hours earlier in Phoenix than it is here in Cincinnati.
That's at a mini celebration yesterday. They'll have a much fuller celebration here today if they win.
Now the 3-2 pitch. Line drive. That's a base hit. Down the left field line. It's rolling into the corner. That was well hit by Pokey Reese. He'll go into second base standing with a 2-base hit. That is only the second hit of the entire game for the Reds. The other was a single back in the second inning by center fielder Jeffrey Hammonds. Now a good hitter Barry Larkin is coming to the plate. So it very well could be that Al Leiter is feeling a little fatigue as he gets to the 9th inning.
Well, the Reds have been a great comeback team all year. You know they don't want to let their season get away easily. They have had a remarkable story this year, and they're going to put up a fight in the 9th inning. You know that.
Bobby Valentine would probably not wait too long to go to Armando Benitez.
Leiter's now throwing 117 pitches tonight.
He is still having trouble getting that mud removed from his spikes. Somebody brought him a wire brush out to the mound to knock that mud loose with. It drizzled off and on all day in Cincinnati. And the weather is cool. Probably in the high 40s right now. Barry Larkin is standing in. Barry is 0 for 2 with a walk. Taken high, ball 1. One ball, no strikes to Barry Larkin. John Casey, the slugging first baseman, the number 3 hitter, is waiting on deck. That's with a 5-0 lead. We are now the last of the 9th inning. Low and inside, a breaking ball out of the strike zone. 2 balls and no strikes. Armando Benitez is probably ready in the bullpen if Bobby Valentine wants him. And Mike Piazza takes time and is going out to the mound. And Dave Wallace, the pitching coach, is also running toward the mound. So Dave Wallace undoubtedly wants to find out from Al Leiter if he's got anything left.
Al Leiter might be getting just a little bit over-pumped right now, eyeing the finish and the possibility of a postseason berth for this ball club that has battled so hard over the last 4 days to get to this point. I mean, who would have thought going into Friday night that the Mets would even have a chance to be here?
5 days ago, they didn't think there was a chance in the world. They were dead in the water.
Only one team in Major League history has ever come from 2 games down in the final weekend and wound up in the postseason. That was the 62 Giants. The Mets will be the second team ever if they can win this game.
2 balls and no strikes on Barry Larkin, the talented shortstop. Here's the pitch now by Leiter, and he missed inside and low, ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes. It could be that we're going to see Armando Benitez before this 9th inning is over. Leiter has thrown about 120 pitches of the game. Right now he's behind Larkin 3-0 with a power hitter waiting on deck. Strike call to the outside corner. When you have hitters, home run hitters like Sean Casey and Greg Vaughn, you can always get back in a ball game, and Jack McKean certainly knows that. Right now, with Larkin up there hitting with a count of 3-1, Sean Casey is waiting on deck, and then you go to Greg Vaughn. The pitch by Leiter. Ground ball hit towards shortstop, fielded by Ray Ordonez. Here's the throw, got him. 1 man away as the runner crosses to third. So now 1 away and a runner on third. We pause for station identification on the WFAN Mets Radio Network.
Monday Night Football, the Bills and Dolphins tied at 6. Terrell Davis is out for the year. Imus in the morning, tomorrow morning, 5:30 until 10 on WFAN New York.
Bob Murphy with Gary Cohen. We're in the last of the 9th inning here at Riverfront. Sean Casey has been held in check by Al Leiter. He has flied to left, been struck out, and he bounced out to third. So the slugging first baseman is 0 for 3, hitting at .332. Mets are willing to give up a run. They have the infield back and playing Sean Casey as a pole hitter. Leiter's pitch. Strike call to the inside corner. Al would like to pick up the complete game, you know that. Now Leiter is back to the runner on third. And the pitch on the way to Sean Casey. Swung on and missed. Great looking pitch. Al Leiter has allowed no runs and only 2 hits. Still trying and hoping for that shutout. Pokey Reese is on third with 1 man down. The 2-strike pitch. Just missed. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Most important thing here is he knows no matter what happens with Casey, Greg Vaughn cannot represent the tying run.
Absolutely, because the Mets have a 5-run lead. Mets got a fast start in the game tonight when Edgardo Alfonso homered in the 1st inning. And that's high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Sean Casey. Armando Benitez is ready. He's just standing around down in the bullpen, like everybody else here, watching the ballgame. Sean Casey's had such a big year. .332 batting average. And the pitch by Al Leiter. Swung on and fouled. That'll wind up in the crowd out of reach. So the game goes on.
The finish line has been very tough for Al Leiter to attain. It's been 13 months since he's had a complete game, all the way back to last September against the Braves.
He certainly has a good chance to grab one right here, unless he's getting a little bit arm weary out there. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Sean Casey, and Greg Vaughn, with 45 home runs, is waiting on deck. Pitching 2-2, and a swing and a miss. So he got him. Al Leiter throws the fastball and gets Sean Casey. That's his 7th strikeout of the night, and now he's 1 out away from winning the big game for the New York Mets.
Sean Casey, so frustrated at striking out, broke that bat right over his leg.
Oh, my. Now Greg Vaughn will stand in. Vaughn has been struck out twice tonight and was retired on a fly ball to center field. So Greg Vaughn, the author of 45 home runs, is 0 for 3, and Al Leiter is hoping to close the door right now. A runner on third and 2 men down. Here's the pitch. Up and in, 1 ball and no strikes. Al Leiter, even though we are in the ninth inning, seems to still be throwing very hard. You talk about coming up big. You can't do it any better than Al Leiter has done it here tonight for the New York Mets. Now the pitch on the way. Foul ball. That's back upstairs, out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike on slugger Greg Vaughn.
Well, Leiter's next start would probably be in Game 4 of the division series if it's necessary, Saturday at Shea Stadium.
The winner of this game goes on to the playoffs. The loser goes home. And we're going to be held up again by some idiot who runs out of the field. Young Pan came dashing out of the plate, made a head-first slide into home plate. So he was already on his stomach. It made it very easy for the police to put the handcuffs on him.
I just don't understand it.
No, I don't like to see that.
Why does somebody who's already seen other people taken off to jail want to come out of the stands and go to jail himself?
Look at Bobby Valentine. He is so upset right now. His pitcher, Al Leiter, is a pitcher 2-2 away from winning the game, and now they have to wait while the police come out and remove an idiot from the playing field. Now we're about to resume. The count is 1-1 on Greg Vaughn. 2 men away, a runner on third. Mets have a 5-0 lead. They're 1 out away from going on. Now Leiter from the stretch. And the pitch on the way. It's up high, ball 2, 2-1.
It has been a very long 11 years since the Mets were last in the postseason. This franchise has been through so many hard times in that period.
The last time they went, they played the Los Angeles Dodgers, and they lost a 7-game series. Leiter again looking into Mike Piazza. Armando Benitez continues to throw in the Mets bullpen just in case he's needed. The 2-1 pitch. High and inside, ball 3. 3-1 on Greg Vaughn. He went 3-2 on Sean Casey, and he struck him out. Now he is trying to get Greg Vaughn. Vaughn, a home run hitter, does strike out a lot, as most home run hitters do. The count is 3-1 on Vaughn. Now the pitch. He walked him. So now the Reds have 2 men on. This would be a crime if Al Leiter has to come out of this game.
I think they'll give him 1 more hitter. Maybe.
That's his 4th walk. Dimitri Young, the right fielder, will be coming up. He's a switch hitter, so he'll be hitting right-handed against Al Leiter. Dimitri Young is hitless and 3 times at bat. As mentioned, the Reds have only 2 hits in the game, and the Reds are a team that knows how to hit. They can hit well. 273 team batting average, 209 home runs, 3rd best of the National League. The home run would still not tie it up. The Mets have a 5-0 lead. Now Leiter is ready, delivers. And a swung on a line to foul down the right field line, no play. Mets did not bother to hold the runner at first base, Greg Vaughn, so he took off for second. And a 1-strike count now on Dimitri Young. Dimitri Young hitting over 300, batting at 301. Mets need just 1 more out, and they're on their way to Arizona. Here's the pitch. Swung, lined hard, caught. The game is over. The Mets win it. They're on their way to Arizona. A wicked line drive hit by Dimitri Young, caught by Edgardo Alfonso. The game is over. The Mets have won the wild card in the National League. The Mets now will fly to Phoenix, Arizona, and tomorrow night they'll be at Bank One Ballpark, opening the series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Masato Yoshi will be on the mound. When the Mets were in a position where they needed to come up big tonight, Gary, you can't come up any better than the Mets did.
A 2-hit shutout for Al Leiter, and the celebration is on. The Mets storming out of the dugout, and they're all in a clump out between the mound and second base. This has been such a large climb back, a team that put itself in a position where they had blown a 4-game lead with 2 weeks to go. They fell 2 games behind going to the final weekend. They got a little help, and they took full advantage, winning their last 4 games, and none bigger than this one. The offense came alive. Al Leiter pitched the game of his life, a 2-hit shutout. What a great night for the New York Mets. 11 years in the darkness, and now they're back in the postseason.
What a marvelous performance by Al Leiter. He allowed Jeffrey Hammonds a harmless single in the second, did not give up another hit until the last half of the 9th inning when Pokey Reese got a 2-base hit down the left field line. So Al Leiter pitches a 2-hit shutout, wins his 13th game of the year. We'll be back with a happy recap in just a moment.